In this video, we'll be taking a look at 3 college basketball games happening on January 19, 2024, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 6 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 3 college basketball games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start: if you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Georgetown versus Xavier. Georgetown and Xavier are set to engage in a Friday night clash within the Big East. In their most recent outing, the Hoyas suffered an 80-67 defeat against number 4 Connecticut, but managed to cover the spread as +21 underdogs. On the other hand, the Musketeers secured an 85-71 victory over Butler as -5.5 favorites during their Tuesday night matchup at home. The Georgetown Hoyas, with a current season record of 8-9, faced a setback in their last game against Connecticut, resulting in an 80-67 loss. At halftime, they trailed 40-31 and couldn't overturn the deficit in the second half. The team shot 34% from the field and sank 29 free throws in the game. Before the Connecticut encounter, Georgetown experienced a 74-70 defeat to Seton Hall, but secured a 68-65 win against DePaul in the preceding game. Their season statistics include an average of 72 points, 35.4 rebounds, and 12.4 assists per game, while allowing 73 points per game. Jaden Epps leads the team with an average of 18 points, 2.3 rebounds, and 4 assists per game. Georgetown's shooting percentages for the season stand at 42.3% from the field, 71.7% on free throws, and 34.6% on three-pointers. The Xavier Musketeers, boasting a 9-8 record this season, secured an 85-71 victory over Butler in their latest game. Leading 46-32 at halftime, they maintained their advantage throughout the second half. Xavier's shooting performance included a 46.2% field goal percentage and 10 made three-pointers. Before the Butler game, they achieved an 85-65 triumph over Providence, but suffered losses to Connecticut and Villanova. The Musketeers' season averages comprise 76 points, 40.4 rebounds, and 16.9 assists per game, while allowing 70 points against per game. Quincy Olivari contributes with 18 points, 4.9 rebounds, and 1.9 assists per game. Xavier's shooting percentages are 44% from the field, 73% on free throws, and 35.4% on three-pointers. Seeking their second conference win, the Georgetown Hoyas have demonstrated competitiveness, covering the spread in 2 consecutive games against Seton Hall and Connecticut. The Xavier Musketeers, however, have struggled to establish consistency, posting a 2-2 record in their last 4 games. Moreover, Georgetown's offensive prowess, averaging 109 points per 100 possessions compared to Xavier's 113.5, makes them a formidable contender. The Hoyas have also proven reliable on the road, covering in 3 of their last 4 away games, including a notable win against Notre Dame and a successful cover against Butler. Thus, the Georgetown Hoyas to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. Following their 80-67 defeat against Connecticut on Sunday, the Georgetown Hoyas are gearing up for a Friday night showdown in Cincinnati against the Xavier Musketeers. Struggling with a 1-5 record against Big East opponents this season, Georgetown's lone victory came by a narrow margin of 3 points at home against DePaul, who currently holds a winless 0-6 record in conference play. Conversely, Xavier's offense has exhibited strength recently, scoring 85 points in back-to-back double-digit wins, elevating their Big East record to 3-3. While Xavier is anticipated to enjoy offensive success, they find themselves in a potential look-ahead situation with upcoming road games against Creighton and Connecticut next week. The Georgetown Hoyas possess a modest 42.4% effective field goal percentage on the road, ranking in the bottom 20 nationally. Additionally, they have failed to surpass 70 points in 4 out of their 5 road games, a trend that is expected to persist against Xavier's formidable defense, which ranks in the top 25 in opposing effective field goal percentage and top 30 in adjusted defensive efficiency according to Ken Palm. and Bart Torvik. Georgetown's offensive strategy primarily operates in a half-court setting due to their limitations in transition, while Xavier's defense excels in the half-court, boasting a low 44.4% effective field goal percentage and 1 point per possession, placing them in the 84th percentile per synergy. Consequently, the Hoyas may struggle to score efficiently, and limiting Xavier's possessions becomes crucial for them. Historically, both meetings between Georgetown and Xavier exceeded their respective totals last season, but the under has prevailed in 4 out of their last 7 matchups. This season, both teams have seen 8 of their games finish under the total. Georgetown, in particular, has been involved in low-scoring contests recently, with none of their last 9 games surpassing the total set for this matchup, with Xavier ranking 72nd in tempo according to Ken Palm, indicating a more up-tempo playstyle, and Georgetown sitting at 264th. It is evident that both teams won't be engaged in a high-paced affair. Therefore, under the projected total stands is our full game total pick. Indiana versus Wisconsin. A notable Big Ten showdown headlines the college hoops action on a relatively quiet Friday night, featuring a clash between the Indiana Hoosiers and the number 11 Wisconsin Badgers. Indiana is coming off a disheartening defeat on their home court against Purdue, succumbing to a decisive 87-66 loss as 9.5-point underdogs. Meanwhile, Wisconsin experienced their first conference setback, losing 87-83 to Penn State on the road, despite being 5.5-point favorites. These teams met only once last season, with Indiana emerging victorious by a comfortable 18-point margin at home. The Hoosiers commenced the season with a respectable 10-3 record, with their only losses coming against Connecticut, Auburn, and Kansas. However, they have encountered a rough patch in their last 5 games, registering a shaky 2-3 record with defeats to Nebraska, Rutgers, and Purdue, interspersed with victories over Ohio State and Minnesota. In the recent Purdue matchup, Indiana faced offensive challenges, falling behind 51-29 in the first half and ultimately succumbing to an 87-66 defeat. Despite the loss, leading scorer Trey Galloway contributed 17 points along with 4 rebounds and 5 assists. On the Badgers side, they embarked on a 7-3 run to start the season, including losses to Tennessee, Providence, and Arizona. Subsequently, they secured wins against Jacksonville State, Chicago State, Iowa, Nebraska, Ohio State, and Northwestern in the next 6 games, before suffering another loss to Penn State. In their recent game against the Nittany Lions, Wisconsin trailed by 4 points at halftime but engaged in a competitive 48-48 run in the second half, ultimately falling short with an 87-83 defeat. A.J. Storr led the scoring for Wisconsin with 23 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists in 34 minutes of play. In the Hoosiers' last encounter with Purdue, top scorers Malik Reneau and Kello Ware struggled against Purdue's size in the paint, contributing to their below-average performance. However, facing Wisconsin's size, Indiana's big men should have an opportunity to rebound and regain their production. Wisconsin, while holding opponents to just over 66 points per game this season, relies on a deliberate pace of 65.3 possessions per game, potentially allowing Indiana to exploit their shooting strengths. Indiana, boasting a 47.6% field goal percentage, could take advantage of Wisconsin's defensive vulnerabilities, allowing 45.3% from the field and 35.2% from beyond the arc. Despite Wisconsin covering in 4 of the last 5 games, the increasing chalk in each game suggests potential overvaluation. Anticipated as a slower-paced game with a focus on battles in the paint, Wisconsin, with a 9-1 straight-up record at home and winning 8 of the last 10 meetings against Indiana, is considered the superior team. However, the Hoosiers, ranked within the top 100 in both offensive and defensive field goal percentage, have demonstrated their capability to compete, particularly against formidable opponents. In a significant conference matchup, the line for Wisconsin appears to be reaching an overvalued state, so the Indiana Hoosiers to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. Wisconsin adopts a deliberate half-court offensive strategy, evident in their ranking of 316th in pace with 65.3 possessions per 40 minutes. Despite a recent loss to Purdue, the team has maintained their defensive prowess, allowing an average of 66 points per game since the commencement of Big Ten play. Indiana, averaging 74 points per game, may find it challenging to reach their usual scoring levels against Wisconsin's deliberate pace. Additionally, the Hoosiers' free throw percentage of 65.7% 7% adds an extra layer of difficulty. Although Indiana generally operates at a faster pace with 70 possessions per 40 minutes, asserting that tempo on Wisconsin's court might prove challenging. Friday night's matchup promises to be one of the premier games, with no other top 25 teams in action besides Wisconsin. Ranked number 11 in the nation, the Badgers aim to rebound from their recent loss to Penn State. While a Wisconsin victory is expected, the best bet lies in the under, considering Wisconsin's inclination towards a slow pace of play and Indiana's struggles on the offensive end. According to Ken Palm, Wisconsin ranks number 316 in adjusted tempo and number 347 in average offensive possession length, aligning with their historically deliberate style. Indiana's offensive shortcomings, ranking number 147 in points per game and number 160 in three-point percentage, further support the prediction of limited scoring opportunities for both teams. The historical context of total points assigned by bookmakers in games between Indiana and Wisconsin over the past decade indicates a tendency towards lower scores. The highest total set in the last 10 years was 136.5, underscoring the team's defensive capabilities. Consequently, the current total of 145.5 is perceived as an over-adjustment to the team's performances this season. As a result, under the projected total is our full game total pick, considering the likelihood of a defensively oriented contest. UNLV versus Colorado State. In the scenic setting of Fort Collins, Colorado, a highly anticipated clash is set to unfold within the Mountain West Conference, featuring two of its foremost teams. The UNLV Rebels, with a current record of 9-7, demonstrated resilience in their recent triumph against Boise State, thereby snapping the Broncos' 22-game home court winning streak and bringing their Mountain West Conference record to an equilibrium at 2-2. Meanwhile, the Colorado State Rams, boasting a commendable 14-3 record, held their ground on their home court by overcoming the Air Force Falcons, matching UNLV's conference record at 2-2. The Mountain West Conference is characterized by unpredictability this season, where every game takes on heightened significance. UNLV has emerged as a team that consistently surprises observers with their developmental strides and their capacity to match up effectively against their opponents. This was evident in their noteworthy victory over Boise State and their closely contested battle against Utah State in the preceding game. While Colorado State holds an advantage in offensive statistics, UNLV is not far behind and is poised to keep the Rams within reach. Both teams adopt a deliberate approach, operating at a measured tempo and relying on their offensive prowess to capitalize on the limited possessions per game. UNLV engages in 65.8 possessions per 40 minutes, while CSU slightly edges ahead with 66.8 possessions. The strategic emphasis on fewer possessions by both teams translates to a diminished likelihood of a substantial winning scoring margin. The head-to-head series between UNLV and Colorado State is evenly split at 3-3 over their last 6 encounters. Notably, in the games secured by CSU, the winning margin was consistently 3 points or fewer. Furthermore, UNLV has persistently been underestimated, covering against the spread in 6 of their last 7 games, while CSU has encountered a downturn, falling short in their last 3 games against the spread. Fresh off an impressive victory against Boise State, UNLV enters the matchup with a 6-2-0 against the spread record in their last 8 games, boasting 3 consecutive wins and triumphing in 6 of their last 7 against the spread. In contrast, Colorado State is grappling with a 3-5-0 against the spread record in their last 8 games, enduring 3 consecutive losses against the spread. The Runnin' Rebels against the spread dominance extends to the head-to-head matchup, where they hold a 7-3-0 against the spread advantage against the Rams in the last 10 encounters, covering the spread in 4 consecutive games in Fort Collins. While acknowledging the likelihood of a Colorado State victory, the prevailing sentiment suggests a golden opportunity to back the Runnin' Rebels and seize the points. Consequently, the UNLV Rebels to cover the spread as underdogs is the full game side pick. Examining the historical trend, these teams have surpassed the projected total in 6 of the last 10 matchups, with 4 of the last 5 games witnessing a similar outcome. Last season witnessed offensive fireworks in their encounters, with both meetings exceeding 150 points. The upcoming clash is anticipated to follow suit, given the proficiency of both teams in shooting, coupled with their commendable defensive capabilities. With an average combined points per game of 158, the expectation is for a high-scoring affair, nearing the 160-point mark. Thus, over the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.